What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a video about patch 1.4 for Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. This patch dropped alongside of the Treasures of the Midnight Isle DLC that we saw yesterday, but I've already made a video about that particular one, and today we are talking about the actual patch. Now, the patch itself is free, you don't need the DLC or anything like that, and we are of course going to cover the highlights. I will drop a link to the patch notes down below if you want to read them for yourself, which you might actually want to, because this patch is quite large actually. It touches just about every portion of the game in some way. DLCs, crusade management, classes, mechanics, you name it, this patch probably does something for it. So to kick this thing off, first up we have the quest fixes. There's about a dozen or so of these, and they are primarily minor stuff. Rewards for quests being updated or given out properly, continuity stuff where you might see an update for a quest that you shouldn't have, that type of stuff. Nonetheless, it does actually fix a few critical issues. For instance, in the very late game in Ninio's side quest, or companion quest if you will, if she dies it can cause an issue later in that quest that just can't be gotten around really without reloading. So a pretty big fix there, but mostly the quest stuff is relatively minor. And then we move on to the various areas of the game that were fixed, like the actual physical locations. This is, again, primarily very minor stuff. A name change in one case, the fog of war not wanting to work correctly, the lighting in certain areas, the visuals. But nonetheless, again, we do see a few very important updates, such as the update to the Coalfear Mines that allows you to actually leave now. In very rare instances, it was possible to upgrade your mythic level in Coalfear Mines, and then the game just wouldn't let you leave out of the exit portal. But again, most of this very minor stuff, most people probably won't even notice, and mostly visual in nature. Then we move on to the crusade stuff. The stuff here was very, very minor. Honestly, most of it was just text fixes and a handful of events and stuff not working correctly. However, we do get one important change here, and that is the project for the secret ending. So the secret ending requires you to complete a crusade event via the management window, and now when you do that, you're going to get a copy of the report in your inventory that explains what you learned. Because previously, while the event completion would tell you this, if you just kind of breezed through that or clicked through it, then you just wouldn't know. And this particular event actually gives you important information about dates, and more specifically, dates something needs to be done, and this should help with that. Then we move on to the UI. Again, mostly just minor stuff, descriptions being added to abilities, localization stuff being fixed, making things more searchable in like the feat search, for instance, that type of stuff. Then we have the audio, very minor fixes here, mostly just audio playing when it shouldn't have, or not playing when it should, that type of stuff. And then we got some important system fixes that I actually think are really cool, mostly that the inventory and the game log itself should work faster now. Sometimes you could get lag when you were moving around your inventory, especially when you had like a full party of all your companions, etc. And now when you enter a cutscene, buffs, poisons, just basically any status effect on your character will be paused. Meaning that if you're like taking damage from an effect or something and a cutscene triggers, your character won't die while that cutscene is playing. And also your buffs won't time out while you didn't even get a chance to use them. Again, very cool small change, but nonetheless very important. And then we move on to probably the biggest section of the update, and that is classes and mechanics. So a few things saw more attention than others here. I would say animal companions, as well as things like the gold dragon, actually saw a lot of love with this particular patch. Companions probably more so than anybody else. Companion pets, I mean. So for starters, they fixed a bug where companions would just randomly start walking backwards. Ivu in particular, the Azada dragon companion, can no longer equip full plate for humanoids, specifically the +5 version. She can only wear the animal companion barding. Animal companions that have horn and tusks that should have gotten a gore attack now actually get that gore attack. Moreover, they also get to perform a free trip attack with gore. That's actually a really huge deal, because if you're unaware, when it comes to animal companions, strangely enough, one of the best ones is actually the dog, specifically because it gets a free trip attack. So the changes here will allow animal companions to use an attack that they will have better success with to begin with, but also the ones that get a gore attack get this free trip ability, which is going to make a lot of animal companions more useful, frankly. And then I talked about the gold dragon. This saw a lot of changes, actually. Changes to the stat allocations from gold dragon in particular. For instance, perfect Soul actually just grants a bonus to your highest base stat now. The spell damage calculations for Gold Dragon was supposed to change D6s to D8s, but it wasn't actually working. Now it is. And then from there, we have just tons and tons of random fixes to various classes, etc. And while I'm not going to go over every single class change here, I would recommend reading this list just regardless. Like if you're kind of dedicated to playing this game, I would go over the class mechanic changes here because they adjusted quite a bit, as well as, of course, fixed quite a bit of stuff. But that's pretty much going to do it for this particular video, guys. Honestly, though, this patch was massive, and actually, we should see another very large patch not too much longer from now, because on the end of September 29th, we're going to be getting the enhanced edition of Wrath of the Righteous, which should come with another very large update that brings all of the enhanced edition changes to the base game, which again will be another free update. Everyone who's already got the game will get for free. And I imagine we'll be hearing about everything that should entail, as well as the major changes it brings relatively soon, as we're coming up on that pretty quick. And we honestly haven't heard too much about that, outside of course, the console version launching at the same time, and then the controller support, I know, is a big one. But that's all I've got for you guys today. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz. But regardless of any of that, truly, just thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.